Hugh Richardson and Robert Ford are two of the few remaining Europeans who knew Tibet before the Chinese invaded. Robert Ford was the first European to be employed by the independent Tibetan government. He was a radio engineer in Chando, in eastern Tibet, when the Chinese invaded. It was Robert who informed the world by shortwave radio of the Chinese invasion. And a few days later, he was captured and spent 5 years in a Chinese jail. He, like Hugh Richardson, has known the Dalai Lama for almost the last 50 years, and in one moment will now introduce him. Robert Ford.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, may I say friends of Tibet, because that is what you are. You are all gathered here today as real friends of Tibet. His Holiness the Dalai Lama is, of course, both the spiritual and political leader of Tibet, and the Tibetans universally respect him as the champion of his people and his country. He is a distinguished exponent of Buddhism, and as such, a dedicated and forceful advocate of non-violence in the political arena. It is in this particular area, of course, that he became a Nobel laureate in 1989. This evening's address by His Holiness will not treat specifically with the tragedy of Tibet and the agony of its people, which I only saw the beginning of. I hope you will therefore permit me to remind you of some of the facts. When you think it's almost half a century now that China invaded and has adopted since then a deliberate policy of oppression in Tibet. This manifests itself in a sustained drive to suppress Tibet's Buddhist religion and its unique cultural history. His Holiness, just the other day in London, addressing both Houses of Parliament in the Palace of Westminster, rightly described this as cultural genocide. Political indoctrination has been reinforced by imprisonment, torture, and death. Over 1 million Tibetans are estimated to have perished under this systematic oppression. Additionally, ecological devastation goes hand in hand with a calculated population transfer, moving Chinese hands into Tibet. And the situation now is Tibetans are now a minority in their own land. I can only describe this as a rigid system of apartheid. Genocide, apartheid. This is the legacy the self-styled Chinese liberators brought into Tibet. In his address, which I referred to a few moments ago, His Holiness described the situation as critical. Oppression and political persecution have reached a new peak. He appealed to the international community for support in pursuing his path of non-violence in the resolution of peace and in favor of dialogue with the Chinese. The title of Dalai Lama is Mongolian, not Tibetan. To Tibetans, he is known formally as the Gewa Rinpoche, the precious protector. To all Tibetans, he is known by the perhaps more familiar title of Kundun, which means simply the presence. In this sense, we welcome His Holiness amongst us. We are delighted by his presence. We are honored by his presence. His message to us all is constant, striving for the unity of mankind and the importance of regarding the people all over the world with love and compassion. With your permission, I will now welcome His Holiness in the Tibetan manner of presenting him with a kata, or silk scarf, of greeting and salutation.
Entered the Manchester's and the Tongji, Tongji Shibude, entering I think Tangu Yombare, and the Desalia, the dos, and the public dos, Kamisha, Kukochumba, Shakauchum, Nshag, Sijiruchum, Tushishu.
This is my first visit to this great city of Manchester, and it is a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to be with you here and to speak to you. So I would like to express my deep appreciation for all of those who have been concerned in making this possible.
And the other Chajinang, Samalova, Tuyun Muchinalalia, Tapake, Kaso Chajinanche, and a Queen of Chunyare, and a mix it to Shishui.
I would also like to take this opportunity to express my thanks particularly to all those organizers who have put tremendous efforts for a long period of time so that we could all have this opportunity here today.
And I'm a man to they are Chicasore, Tunar Nanche, that those mongoose to Peshusha, to Shishui.
And I would also like to express my appreciation for the public who have gathered here and who are participating in this talk with interest.
Now, I will try to speak through my broken English in order to save time and also, I think, to communicate directly. But at the beginning, I want to sort of to warn to you. You see, my English very poor. Is the as a word very limited. So therefore, sometimes there is danger. You might get, I think, a different understanding or different meaning due to I think the wrong use word. So that I would like to say. And then another thing, I think quite a number of people come here with some expectation. But then I have nothing to offer to you. Nothing is special, a special message or something. Simply, share some of my own experience. So, I think some of you may find some new ideas and could adopt your daily life. And some I may not find any interest. Then doesn't matter, just leave it. It's no problem. Now the topic,
The main theme of my talk here this evening is compassion, and speaking about compassion as the basis for human happiness.
Now, obviously, every human being, I think by innate, there is feeling of I. That's right. We can't explain why that feeling there. But there is that kind of feeling. And with that feeling, a desire for happiness and desire overcome suffering. That also very right one. We have right to achieve happiness, maximum happiness. And also we have right to overcome suffering. With that motivation, I think whole human history develop on that basis. And not only human being, but even I think the tiny insect also have that feeling from the Buddhist viewpoint. So because of that, according to their own capacity, trying to gain some happiness and try to avoid some unhappy situation. So, so now human being, some I think it's different. I think major differences from other species of mammal. That is human intelligence. So certainly, because of human intelligence, I think we have much more advanced way.
Developed capacity.
More capacity, and we can think much more, long period or long future we can think, and also our memory is quite capable or quite strong. We can, remember many years, and also with help of oral transmission as well as written. We can remind the many centuries. And through scientific, now, the analytical method, we can examine millions years ago. So human intelligence is very smart. But at the same time, because of that very fact, we also, have, more sort of doubt or suspicion. That kind of, and with that, more fear. Perhaps the imagination fear much more than animal. And also it is, as a matter of fact, the many conflict within human family or within one's own family or within one's own community, not alone.
Let alone the conflicts that you find between nations.
Within one community, within one family, even within one single person. Because of that intelligence, you get a lot of different ideas, different views, and as a result, contradictions. So that also creates sometimes unhappy mental state. So human intelligence, one way, very smart, very great, but one way human intelligence is another source of human misery, trouble. And again, at the same time, human intelligence is the the ultimate factor to overcome all these differences, all these conflicts. Now here, what I think is one, and therefore I think from that viewpoint, out of all different species of mammal on this planet, the human being is, I think, most troublemaker. That's also clear. So imagine if, I say, no longer any human being on this planet, then I think planet itself maybe become more safer. And certainly, I think the millions of fish, chicken, you see, these, you see, small, you see, animals, I think then get some kind of, I think, genuine liberation. So now the question is, the question or the important thing is, that is a human intelligence. This is a marvelous thing. Must be utilized in constructive way. Now, that's the key factor. And if we, you see, utilize that, you see, capacity in proper way, that not only a human being becomes something less harmful to planet, but also the individual human being themselves, you see, get more happy, how to say, mental state. So you see, things are within our own hand. Whether we utilize, you see, the human intelligence in right way or wrong way, that's up to us. Nobody can control, or nobody can impose way.
Nobody can impose.
Can impose. So, so now in order to utilize the human intelligence or human capacity more constructive way, first we need awareness about that kind of nature. And on that basis, will or determination. Then there is a real possibility to transform human
Heart, no?
Human heart. Yes. So, so now here, that's I think the basic situation. Now on that basis, today I'm going to speak more on the regarding how to become a happy human being, individual basis. Because I believe individual is the key factor. Any change, any movement in the human community, the initiative must come from individual. So if you see the individual human being, you see they eventually be a nice person, calm person, peaceful person, then it automatically bring some kind of positive atmosphere, and you see have a happy family. Once you see two parents be a warm-hearted and peaceful and calm person, then they are all children. Eventually, you see, they, generally speaking, also you see get that kind of, also you see grow that kind of, behavior. So therefore, I think the individual, the happy individual human being is very important. Now our attitude, such manner that you see troubles mainly come from outside. So you see, try to eliminate the existence of the trouble surrounding you. I think that's one-sided view. Of course, you see the environment, the surrounding situation. Also, you see, very important factor for one's own happy or unhappy, you see, mental state. But but the more important other side is one's own mental attitude. Now, the surrounding situation may not be so friendly, even more hostile. But if your own inner mental attitude have right kind of mental attitude, then the surrounding situation may not be so disturbance, right?
May not disturb.
May not so disturb your inner peace. So, other hand, if you see the inner mental quality or mental attitude not that kind of the right one, then even that person is surrounded by good friends and best facilities, is that person cannot be a happy person or peaceful, right?
Not a happy person.
Or a happy person. So therefore, obviously, the mental factor is more important than outside surrounding.
External conditions.
External conditions. So generally, I believe, maybe wrong, it seems to me, many areas, people, concern more about, the external conditions and neglect about internal, factor. So now here, my the suggestion is, let us pay more attention about our inner quality. Now here, according to my own little experience, the most important factor for mental peace is, I believe, of course there are some other factors, some other qualities, right?
Yes.
But I think one of the very important factor is human compassion, affection, sense of caring. You see, now compassion, I think let me explain what is the meaning of compassion. Compassion or love or compassion is usually, we get usually the concept about the compassion or love is something closeness feeling towards your friend or something. And also sometimes compassion means something, feeling of pityness. That is wrong. The compassion or love and compassion, which is something look down other, that's not genuine compassion. Genuine compassion must be, I think, on the basis of respect other and realize or recognition that others also, just like myself, have the right be happy, overcome suffering. Yet some suffering there. So on that basis, she should develop some kind of genuine concern, sense of concern. So there is no,
So that way of relating to others in a compassionate way does not have the element of looking down upon the object of your feeling.
Then the closeness feeling towards one's own friend, that usually more like attachment rather than compassion. So genuine compassion is unbiased, should be unbiased. Closeness feeling towards one's own friend, that is only partial, only towards one's own friend, not towards your enemy or those unknown people. Usually remain indifferent. Indifference is right. Indifferent. So that is that kind of closeness feeling is partial or biased. So the genuine compassion is, as I mentioned before, on the basis of recognition that others also, just like myself, you see, have the right to overcome suffering. So, on that basis, including your enemy, I mean, same situation, same human being, also has the same right. On that basis, you see, develop a genuine sense of concern. That's compassion. So you see, that's unbiased. Even if it's towards, so irrespective what the person's or group of the people's attitude towards you, whether hostile, whether friendly, that is something different. But so long as these also see sentient being, human being, just like myself, have the right to overcome suffering, on that basis develop sense of concern. That is genuine compassion. So you see that compassion, there you see one aspect of that compassion also you see have some kind of a sense of what today, carrying responsibility, sense of responsibility. So that strengthens sorry. So you see once you see that you see the motivation or that kind of sense of feeling, right? Feeling. That kind of motivation or that kind of feeling is once developed here, it automatically strengthens our sort of self-confidence. It increases confidence. That automatically reduces fear. And that will act as a basis of determination. So you see, success much depends on determination. Right from the beginning, no matter how difficult is the work or the task, if you're really determined, even one time fail, second time fail, third time fail, doesn't matter. You see, your aim very clear and continue effort. So therefore, you see, determination is, with optimistic attitude and determination is the key factor for success. So the compassion bring us some kind of inner strength. Then also is a compassion. Once you see compassion is developed here, then almost like you see it open automatically our inner door, and through that door we can communicate with other fellow human beings, or also other sentient beings, without much you see the uneasiness feeling. You can communicate easily, heart to heart. If you see the otherwise way. On the other hand, if some kind of hatred feeling, ill feeling towards other here, then because of your own mental attitude, that person certainly feel, or other person also have that kind of similar feeling towards me. So as a result, it's a suspicion, fear, and automatically you see distance from other, and difficult to communicate with other. So result, you feel loneliness, you are isolated, and mental. I think mainly due to mental imagination, that person really you see feel all the people, or member of the community, are looking on you something negatively because of your own feeling. Maybe one or two may have that kind of negative feeling, but certainly it's not all the members of the community. But you see, and also, if you yourself, you see, here kept some, negative feeling, meantime, expect some friendly manner from other. That's illogical. You see, if you want more friendly, more friend, more friendly atmosphere, first you must create the basis. Whether you see others' response will be positive or negative. First, you must create some kind of ground. Then, if the others' response still is negative, then you have right, to act accordingly. So you see, first we must create the possibility to react friendly manner. So usually I do like that. Whenever I met some new person, I truly feel no need because of introduction. That's it is obviously another human being. That's no. You see, on the faces, not robot. Right? Not a robot. Maybe in the future, robot.
Maybe sometime in the future, because of the technological advances, I could be confused for a robot to be a human being.
Whether this is robot or this is real human being, then may have some kind of confusion. But at least I think up to now, no need introduction. Something moving, something smile, something teeth or eyes. That's a human being. So you see, then on that basis. You see, the emotion level, same. The basically physical level, also same, except color. Usually we call the Westerner yellow hair. So it doesn't matter. Yellow hair, blue hair, white hair, doesn't matter. You see, the important thing is emotional level. Same, yeah, same. So you see, with that sort of conviction or with that kind of belief, you see, I feel, another human brother, now come here. Yes, just I, spontaneous sort of approach. Then most cases, the others respond also accordingly. You see, immediately become friend. Sometimes fail. Then I have liberty to react according to circumstances. If the other side is not that kind of spontaneous response, and still remains some kind of suspicion or some kind of sarcastic attitude, then of course the plenty of time or plenty of occasion is whether I should react what kind of manner. So doesn't matter, isn't it? So therefore, they basically our way of approach to other, I think should be that kind of open and consider or recognize as another human being. Nothing much differences. So you see the compassion really, create that kind of, what's a positive atmosphere. So as a result, you feel, calm or peace and satisfied. Now, with that kind of as a mental attitude, naturally, the compassionate, wherever one compassionate person live, they automatically some kind of pleasant atmosphere always there. Even dogs or birds also come eventually easily come close. So come to that person. Here I often telling in many years one small experience which I had many years ago, almost 50 years ago. That is one in Lhasa, in Norpulinga, Summer Palace. I had among some birds, usually I kept some birds. Among the birds were one small parrot. So is it that parrot? One of my attendants already. Attendant, one old elderly person. Although his face appearances not that much friendly. Well, his eye very round. That kind of stern, stern eye. But you see, to that bird, you see, he always is feeding something, nuts, things like that. So the bird is when you see that is a person about to see appears to that direction, and I think sound of his walking and some coughing, immediately this is a small parrot showing some kind of excitement. Then you see he feed. Some kind of extraordinary friendly manner with that small bird. And actually, I also want that kind of response from that small bird. You see, a few occasions I feed, nut. Never show that kind of, the friendly manner. Then I start to use stick. Although, I expect, with stick, that small bird may react more differently. But then result totally negative. You're using more force. That bird, even small, a poor bird, react accordingly. So therefore, if you want genuine friend, first we must create the positive, atmosphere. And after all, we are social animals. I think in our life, friends are very important. Friendly manner, genuine smile. These are, I think, very important for our life. So how to bring good smile? If you remain stern and suspicious, very difficult. Perhaps if you have more power, more money, then I think some people, some artificial smile may offer to you, but this is not a very good one. So a genuine smile must come on the basis of compassion. Now I think the question is how to develop compassion. Whether we can really develop that kind of compassion. That's the question. But my answer is certainly yes. Why? Firstly, basic human nature, I believe, gentleness, more compassionate. Often you see people thought, because of, I think, the human history, and even today's the situation, many people thought human nature, basic human nature is aggressive. Now let us think. The time of our conception in mother's womb, and then the time when we were in mother's womb, still there, the mother's compassionate attitude, peaceful, restful mental attitude, mental state, very positive factor. Agitated mind of the mother, very harmful. That's just the beginning of our life. And also even conception, I think, not through rape or something. Then terribly, these unwanted children happening. The proper child come on the conception take place in genuine love. That genuine love means respect each other, not just mad love. Knowing each other well, not only is it some love affair, but also develop some kind of respect as a person. On that basis, genuine, happy marriage take place. That marriage remain whole life or long lasting. So that's the proper way. So the beginning of life, started from that kind of situation. Then, according to medical science, just after birth, a few weeks, during that period, the child's the brain enlarging. During that period, according to medical science, medical expert, the physical touch, whether mother or someone else who are acting like mother, is a physical touch, is crucial factor for proper development of the child's brain. So this also shows, the human physical itself, need some other's affection. Then also, I think after birth, the first act from the mother side, giving milk. From the child's side, sucking milk. The milk, almost, I think the symbol of compassion, symbol of affection. Without that, the child can't survive. Now that milk, from the child's side, without affection to the mother, whether that child recognize one's own mother or not, in any way, some kind of closeness feeling is there. With that, this is sucking milk. Without that feeling, closeness feeling, may not, touch the mother's, what's that?
Nipple.
Oh, kasa?
Breast.
Oh, breast. Oh. So the mother side also, if you see some kind of frustration, some kind of dislike, to the child, then milk may not come freely. So with affection, the milk comes. So I think our first act, taking milk, that's the symbol of affection. So I always reminds, when I visit a church, they Mary carrying Jesus Christ as a small baby. That, to me, symbol of affection, symbol of love. So then obviously, those children whose home where love and affection there, these child, the physical development also better, healthier, normal, and study also become normal or better. Where lacking about human affection, love and affection, the children, even physical development also sometimes difficult, and the study also difficult. So then I think the most important thing, those children who at the early age grow under lack of human love and affection, then these children, when they grown up, they find it difficult to show other human love and compassion. And that's a great tragedy, great tragedy. So then look at our last moment of our life. That's death. Even at the time of death, the dying person also no longer use your friend. But even then, that person is surrounded by your friend. That person, the dying person, may have more calm mind. So therefore, in whole life, right from the beginning up to death, the human affection is most important role. Then look This is a physical nature. More affectionate mind automatically create more peace of mind, more calm mind. That affect our body very positively. Hatred, anger, too much jealousy, fear, upset our peace of mind. No longer there. Some kind of, always some kind of, uncomfortable, agitation. That affects our body very badly. So you see, our very body need peace of mind. Don't suit, not suit the agitated mind. So this shows in our blood there is some kind of appreciation of peace of mind. So therefore, I think we can say, I believe, some people may not agree, but doesn't matter. They say, I feel of course, the anger, the aggressive nature, these also part of our life, but dominant force of our life, right, is, I believe, human affection. So therefore, you see, there is possibility to strengthen, you see, that basic nature of human being. And secondly, human intelligence. If you analyze things properly, then you can get some kind of conclusion. If I help other, if I take more concern about other, then I will get reward. I will get benefit. If I harm other, then eventually I will get trouble. So sometimes I usually use a half joke, half sincere, half serious. You see, I usually is telling people, if we truly be selfish, then should be a wise selfish rather than foolish selfish. Isn't it? So that part, I think human intelligence can provide that kind of attitude. One side, we have the potential development of human compassion. Then other side, human intelligence, analyze the situation. Now we need, maybe I think the rounding college and do sort of charity. Could those intelligence sometimes code one?
So on the other side, there is the human intelligence, which if we use it properly, we can gain insights into how, by living a compassionate way of life, we can fulfill our own self-interest. One could possibly argue that that way of being compassionate is ultimately selfish.
But then here, selfish itself, I don't think something wrong. Love oneself is very crucial. Without love oneself, how to show love to other? Some people, you see, get the understanding or impression, selfless, compassion,
it seems that when people talk about compassion, often some people tend to have the notion that compassion entails or requires total disregard of one's own self-interest, sacrificing one's own self-interest.
This is not the case. Not the case. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, the genuine concern or love, first is oneself. This is some people, this is some kind of self-hatred or something. Or that's, I think, totally wrong. With that kind of mental attitude, then very difficult to show other genuine sense of concern. So there is possibility, to strengthen, to increase, these, good human quality or potential of this good quality. And then, of course, one way it is very important to increase, to strengthen our compassion. And on the other hand, the need to check the anger, hatred side. So you see, combine these two ways, then you see we can transform. The negative-minded person can transform a very kind person. That's very possible. So that's the way to transform. So now how to check anger, hatred? Hatred, ill feeling towards other. I think that is something, and also I think the sense of revenge. That I think is totally negative. Almost I think absolute negative. The anger, I think there can be two types. One anger on the basis of compassion with basis of sense of concern. Some angers may be positive, but still better not. But basically there can be two kinds of anger. And then also I think as I mentioned earlier, it's selfish itself is nothing wrong. So you see, similarly here the sense of strong self.
Strong sense of self.
Strong sense of self. Egoistic. That also, you see, not necessarily, you see, negative. There can be two. One, you see, sense of strong self, right? Strong self. What?
A strong sense of self.
So you see, one that feeling, you see, which lead no hesitation to harm on other. That kind of ego is negative, very bad. You see, that lead us in trouble. But other hand, it's a strong feeling I, self, you see, which act as a basis of determination or willpower, self-confidence. That kind of, you see, strong feeling I, very necessary. You see, without that, how can develop self-confidence? No matter how difficult it is, I must, you see, carry this work. I determine to do this. You see, there you need strong sense of I must be there. So you see, there is two types of, the egoistic, I think, feeling. So similarly, desire, also you see, there can be two kinds. So in any way, you see, those, you see, like hatred, I think very bad for health reason, for friendship, for harmony, everywhere. The hatred is very negative. Now, how to reduce that? And the hatred usually, you see, led by anger. First, anger comes, then it,
First, as a reactive emotion, anger arises, and then anger can gradually become a feeling of hatred.
So, there, I think we need some, I think
A skillful means or skillful approach.
Firstly, it is very important, is it, to know anger is negative. Usually, you see, people, you see, consider anger is part of our mind. Anger comes, even you see, say, you see, they better to show, better let come. I think that's, wrong concept. Some, you see, grievance, you see, due to some your past experience, once, you see, happen, only rarely, you see, happen. Then such, some kind of resentment here, some kind of, grievances, maybe, you see, let out, then, you see, finish. That's very possible. But usually, you see, constant anger, that I think is better to make check. Then eventually, you see, year by year, eventually, you see, can reduce. According to my own experience, you see, that really is work. Once you take some kind of position anger is something, something better to distance with realization, anger is something troublesome. Better I have no anger. You see, that kind of position. You see, that kind of position itself makes differences. Then anger comes. The smaller anger, you can, at the time when anger is about to come, you see, you can think about the subject, object.
The object of your anger.
Or object of the anger. You see, they think other way round. Any person or any circumstances which usually, you see, they cause anger, is it basically relative. So you see, from one angle you can see, very negative. You can't bear it. But the same object or same circumstances, you see, look from another angle, you may find some good things. Now, for example, you see, we lost our own country, become refugee. If you look only from that angle, then you see, you might get more frustration or something, more sadness. But the same event, you see, create new opportunity, meeting with other people, meeting with, you see, different people from different religious tradition, things like that. So you see, this unfortunate event creates new opportunity. Look from that angle, then you see, yes, it is bad, but also you see, become opportunity. You see, so you see, their mental attitude become more balanced. So that's one method. Then you see another thing. If you get some kind of sick, if you only meditate or only think about the sickness, then the frustration increasing. Then it is very useful to make comparison or look, even you see the worst case, some other you see illness, or even one's own you see illness. If I get even worse, you see, worse illness, worse.
It could have been worse.
But
so when you sort of encounter such situations, one effective way is to compare and see its relativity. Although the experience is really very bad, but if I compared it to something that could have been even worse, then that realization itself will immediately kind of reduce the intensity.
And also, you see, some trouble, you see, happen. Then if you look from closely, then it appears very big. But the same problem, look from wider angle or perspective. It's the same problem appears smaller. So these are the method. You see, when you see, face some problem, and through these kind of, you see, the outlook, you see, you can reduce mental frustration. So you see, constant effort, eventually, you see, the anger side can reduce. Meanwhile, you see, try to strengthen the compassionate side. So that's the way. So now here, one thing, if you see someone who have interest in this field, that person have, you see, the religious faith, it is very good. You see, that I think very, very useful to strengthen, you see, these things. Now, for example, the gospel, you see, says, if you see someone is hit here, you see, show this. This, clearly, you see, they show the practice of tolerance. And love to God and love to fellow human being. So this is, to me, I think main message is love to fellow human being. And the reason must show, why you see, we have to show love to fellow human being, because we love God. So that's I think so it's the main message is love to fellow human being. and also God, in the sense, infinite love. So these, you see, message or these teaching are very powerful, is to increase, to strengthen our inner good quality. So, and of course, it's a Buddhist way of how should I say, approach. You see, the very clear technique. You see, first try to equalize all sentient beings. Then, you see, they think all sentient being is precious life, just like myself. And through these bases, you see, developing the sense of concern others. So the religious belief, religious faith is very useful to strengthen. But in case, you see, no religious, you see, faith, then I think here it's important to know whether we should be religious-minded or not. It is individual right. So without a religion, we can manage. In some cases, even simpler, even better. But you see, you should not forget. You see, once you no more interest, no interest about religion, you should not, you see, neglect about the value of human good quality. That is different. You see, so long we are a human being, so long we are the member of human society, we need human compassion. Without that, you can't be a happy human being. So everyone is want to be a happy life, successful life, and a happy person, happy family. If you want that, the key factor is human compassion, human affection. So I think you see, here you see, it is very important to know, you see, two levels of spirituality. One spirituality with faith.
Religious faith.
Religious faith. One spirituality without religious faith, but simply be a warm-hearted person. Try to be a warm-hearted person. So that's, then also now with this, you see, the idea of non-violence, very much. Once we cultivated the compassionate, mental attitude developed here, then non-violence automatically comes. Non-violence is not just a diplomatic word. Non-violence is, I think the action or act of compassion. Compassion is here, non-violent action comes. Hatred here, violence very often comes. So now you see, look, because let us think about violence and non-violence. As I mentioned earlier, so long we human beings remain there, conflict, disagreement, different views, always there, that we can take for granted. So now, if you follow or if you use the violent method in order to reduce the disagreement or conflict, then we have to I think violence every day, and then the result I think horrible. So therefore, you see, and also through violence, it is impossible, you see, to eliminate disagreement. Through using violence, even more resentment, more dissatisfaction come. So naturally, non-violent means dialogue. Use our language, human language. So dialogue means compromise. Listen others' view, respect others' right, and in the spirit of reconciliatory, or there is real solution of, you see, to oppose, conflict or disagreement. Half. Not 100% sort of 100% winner, 100% loser. Not that way, but you see, half. So that is the practical way. That's the only way. Now today, I think the whole world now becoming smaller and smaller. Almost, you see, the concept of we and they, I think, gone, outdated. Our interest and their interest, if independently existed, then there is possibility to win 100% our side, to lose 100% the other side. But since the reality heavily depend on one another, my interest, our interest, and others' interest very much mixed. So how can, under that circumstance, how can, you see, you gain 100% victory? Impossible. So you see, half-half, share. If possible, 60% this side, 40% other. So otherwise it's impossible. So therefore, you see, that is, I think, now today's the real world's reality become like that. So that's, I think, the basis of my own way of approach, middle way of approach. We can't, you see, get some kind of 100% victory Tibetan side. In any, whether we like it or not, Tibetan future much depend on China. So therefore, you see, in the spirit of conciliatory, you see, they have their interest, have our interest. Through that way, genuine development, you see, can be possible. So it's a compromise, whether even we don't like, but there's no other way except compromise. So therefore, that's I think the true non-violence means talk, share others' view, others' feeling, others' right, and through that way solving the problem. So sometimes I express, you see, I telling people, this century, 20th century, one aspect, almost I think, from the looking one aspect, I think we can call this century of bloodshed, century of war. So result, more conflict, more bloodshed, more weapon. So therefore, now from the basis of, from the experience which we learned, which humanity learned from this century, now I think, you see, we should look, the next century should be century of dialogue. Non-violent principle make available everywhere. And that cannot come through prayer. Just sitting here, pray. That's impossible. Work, effort. So thank you, that's about my talk. Thank you. Yes.
The first question, is meditation essential to become a Buddhist?
Oh, yes. You see, this not sufficient. Rosary and recite Om Mani Padme is not sufficient. And some chanting or some, you see, prayer. I think sometimes I do feel chanting and recite some mantra and contented. I think this is deceiving us, right?
It's
actually
deceiving oneself.
I think it's deceiving oneself. If you look, Buddha statue, no rosary, Buddha remain like this, meditation. So I think we must know. I think we must, remind the key thing. Logically, the method or the way of approach of Buddha Dharma is transform mind. So transformation of mind, not through, you see, the Buddha's blessing, but through one's own effort. Therefore, Buddha always say, you are your own master. So say, the mental training is meditation, analytical meditation, and single pointedness of meditation. These two things combine.
Next question. How can you show compassion to someone who is hurting and manipulating a friend? Will Will it have the effect to stop them or encourage them further?
Now, non-violent, compassionate, does not mean you bow down. Right. The sense of tolerance and patience, here I think the real sense, you not let out anger. That's, I think, the essence of tolerance. Tolerance does not mean restrain response. Of course, you see, first, you always see restrain, harming other. That's the foundation as a Buddhist practice. But then someone take advantage. You see, that how to say humility, that humbleness, or that how to say shiva. The Europe language the advantage chavina, take advantage chavina.
Of course, refraining from harming others is the fundamental Buddhist ethical principle. And say if someone were to take advantage of that and try to exploit you, then they think if let the others take advantage on you, then their wrongdoing will increase. As a result, that person ultimately have to face negative consequences. So now, out of compassion, out of concern of that person, now take countermeasure. So you see, in reality, same countermeasure, but different motivation. And you see, patience and tolerance should not consider as a signs of weakness, rather than strength. To be average, impatience causes him to in tolerance. To be so when we talk about tolerance, tolerance does not mean giving in. And tolerance also is a true tolerance comes when you confront with an opponent toward which you do have the capacity to retaliate if you want, but you don't give in to that emotion. Whereas if it is a case where you simply don't have the capacity to retaliate, then that is a case of weakness. That's not true tolerance, because you can't, even if you want to, retaliate.
So our tolerance towards Chinese, whether true tolerance or not, is questionable.
How can genuine love and compassion be long-lasting when in many Buddhist societies, for example, Tibet, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Cambodia, there was and there is distressing conflict and people with power controlling the population with fear?
Obviously, you see, in Buddhist countries, and the entire population, surely, you see, not genuine Buddhist. That's obvious. And also, even as a Buddhist, you see, unless there's some constant effort, it's a serious practice, just as killing oneself as a Buddhist, that you see, no guarantee that that person be a tolerant or something, compassionate. In fact, I was told, I think the Pol Pot of Cambodia, I think one time, the Cambodian monk, and then also the terrible, you see, the leader of Mongolia, what? I forgot his name, because his name. I forgot his name. Kasa. Ka. Sugibadu Mare. Timabidri, Sugibadu Nibati. He also failed, remember. So, so in any way, the leader of Mongolia, I think during 30s, 40s, you see that Choi Balsang, yes, Choi Balsang. Now I remember. Choi Balsang. Now, he also a monk previously. Then I think 100% of the degree specialist.
I think it's called, it's a U-turn.
Oh, complete. So it seems, I think the Buddhist monk, like myself, if turn something wrong, I think become very dangerous.
When ignorance is transcended and karma purified, why do appearances continue to manifest? Maribapang. Le. Sebenas.
Sabine.
Tadu nawa karsin degores. Kunzu nawa tis. Shuru nawa.
That the less nimdo. Nyumu was sabasamgi now the Gariamare. Nyumu was Paja the Java Gasona. Any Ramune Tata Chidis now Tata Treven now Yonson Gardage.
According to Buddhist scripture and Buddhist explanation, just total elimination of the afflictive emotions and thoughts and delusions alone does not lead to the cessation of dualistic appearances. In order to attain a state where there is no dualism, so far as one's own perspectives is concerned, in addition to the delusions, one must also be able to gain sort of total elimination of even the propensities and imprints left by the delusory experiences.
So that is the Buddhahood, stage of Buddhahood, state of Buddhahood. There, from Tathagata's one's own kasoda, Dishibu Rangmune,
one's own perspective.
You see, no, that he now Tamjaloda, Chidus.
So there is no duality so far as the Buddha's own perception is concerned. However, when out of compassionate motive, compassionate intention, when Buddha engages in activities aimed at helping others, of course Buddha has to participate in the conventions of the world. Please, can Your Holiness advise and clarify why you do not agree with the practice of the Dhamma protector, Doji Shukden, when it has been practiced and relied upon for over 1,000 years by a pure lineage, including your own spiritual guides and at your own admittance. You have relied upon the Dhamma protector, Doji Shukden, yourself in the past in one of your own books.
No, this is, I think, rather complicated. I think the best thing is you should take more research and listen. You see various points of view. Now you see my position is like this. Yes, it is true. You see, the early part of my life, I also practiced that. You see, due to some other factor, and mainly, you see, due to my own, you see, junior tutor. Then, about 20 years ago, I had some some experience. Then finally, through some spiritual investigation, and the indication was very clear. I should stop completely. Then also, I stopped. Meantime, I also informed or reported to my junior tutor all these, events. Then my junior tutor, in spite his, his own, practice, this protector, he fully agreed. Now there must be some reason. So now, as far as Dalai Lama is concerned, now must stop. Now he is endorsed. So still, I feel now that's my deep satisfaction. So then, but at that time, I kept quiet. I know, some people may get uncomfortable if that situation I speak out. But then, after I think 3 or 4 years, this is some
Publications.
some conflict between sect due to some publication. Then that situation compelled on me speak out. Then I speak out. That I think about 18 years ago. I think 17, 18 years ago. Then many Tibetan listen or take notice seriously. But some people they not much attention about my suggestion, my advice. But I since then, from time to time, whenever I had what's a major teaching, I repeated the negative consequences about this practice. What is negative consequences? Number one, Tibetan Buddhist teaching. Now many Western scholars, Buddhist scholars, now well known. The Tibetan Buddhist tradition is very profound tradition. Now that profound tradition, now there is danger to degenerate, eventually become a worshipper, spirit worshipper. I think that's a great tragedy. And for that, even state oracle, they worship state oracle to state oracle with some kind of attitude of almost refugee attitude, then that actually that person no longer can be considered as a Buddhist. So this is number one. Second, my whole approach is promotion of non-sectarian, and particularly among the Tibetan Buddhist 4 lineage, Nyingma, that is Nyingma, Kagyu, Kilu, Sakya. I'm promoting the old teaching practice simultaneously. So you see the tradition of the Shungden practitioner in the Sajya tradition and the Kilu tradition. In the Kilu tradition, they consider if you touch, even you keep in your room one Nyingma scripture, or this is a protector, will harm or will punish on you. That's they believe. So the practice of Shungden not go well with my attempt of promotion of non-sectarian. This is the second. The third, the Shungden history, not 1,000 years, only 300 years. During 300 years, they accept only last 6 decades, about 60 years. Now this is a practice somehow more propagated. Before that, you see, last 300 years, out of 300 years, about 60 years. Otherwise, they long more than 240 years. You see, Dorje Shungden practice remain very local, and people consider local deity. And you see, both tradition, Gelug tradition, Sajid tradition, there are few minority, you see, practice this. So it's a long 300 years. You see, the many great masters of Gelug tradition, many of them reject this. Now, for example, the teacher of 7th Dalai Lama rejected, you see, this deity. And in fact, the
in fact, dismantled the shrines to this protector which were in Ganden Monastery and expelled the practice of that from Ganden Monastery.
So that story written in the biography of Changja Rilpe Dorje, the one important disciple of 7th Dalai Lama. It's available. Then, because of this factor, and also, you see, the very beginning of Shungden, during 5th Dalai Lama, there was conflict between Dalai Lama and the other Lama. So, the very beginning of the story, some conflict with Dalai Lama. So last, except me, the whole past Dalai Lama, since 5th Dalai Lama, no contact with this protector. And in fact, 13th Dalai Lama put great restriction on this practice. And the very person is a very Lama who promotes this, who propagates this Pabongkar Rinpoche, 13th Dalai Lama asked him should not propagate. And he put his question, the
13th Dalai Lama asked Pabongkar Rinpoche not to propagate this, and in fact said that by doing so, Pabongkar Rinpoche would be going against the basic precepts of taking refuge in the 3 jewels.
Then you see, Pabongkar Rinpoche replied to 13th Dalai Lama, now in future I will no practice. I promise I will no longer.
I will stop to practice this.
So that also in the biography of Pabongkar Rinpoche, which published in Lhasa, the copy is available. So these are the stories. So therefore, you see, I thought it is my responsibility to make clear what is the negative consequences. Whether you see people listen or not, it is up to them. So that's about Shungden. Now I would like to say, you see, some of you see, as a practitioner here, you see, don't too much emotion feeling, and cool down. Then we can discuss. And most important, you investigate thoroughly, with patience, with calmly. That's important. Just one-sided information is dangerous.
How do women fit into the hierarchical model of the Buddhist tradition, that is the spiritual and political leadership? Could there be a female Dalai Lama? And the second question is how capable are Westerners to truly grasp Buddhism an Eastern tradition, would it be more appropriate to explore Western shamanism or mystic traditions?
Now, the first part, in Buddhist tradition, there's a goddess Tara there. Goddess Tara, in fact, you see, there is a story. The goddess Tara, as a woman, you see, when she developed bodhicitta, she determined there are many males who attain enlightenment, quite few women. So now, as far as me concerned, from this on till Buddhahood, I will remain female. So is Goddess Tara is, I think, the ancient Buddhist feminist. So, in fact, you see, that is one in Tara's literature. It mentioned like that. So now, in Buddhism, basically, I think Buddha give equal right. But then some, I think
although generally speaking, Buddha gave equal opportunities to both men and women so far as the spiritual practices are is concerned. But if you look at, for example, like the ordination ceremonies, there are certain aspects of the ordination ceremony which involve the hierarchies of the monastic members, where the senior members can sit and where the junior members can sit, and how that hierarchy is determined. There seem to be certain bias based on gender.
So I think, I personally feel we need some, modification, some change. But that, I can't do. As the Vinaya tradition, unless Sangha, a group of bhikshus, and thorough discussion, and then they make some change. And also possibly or hopefully not only Tibetan Buddhist, Tibetan monk or bhikshus, but bhikshu from Thailand, from Sri Lanka, in essence bhikshu from all Vinaya tradition.
Monastic
tradition. They have gathering, then I think make some decision. That I think some kind of, will be revolutionary. So
that would be almost like kind of an important or historic reform.
So that is about, the right is concerned. And then Mahanudara Yoga Tantrayana, they more stress the importance of women. Right.
So this is the mystical tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, the Vajrayana Buddhism.
And then about possibility of female Dalai Lama. That I always say, the very purpose of the reincarnation is some service to the community. So under a certain period or certain circumstances, the women reincarnation, women Dalai Lama become more effective, then certainly, I think theoretically speaking, women Dalai Lama is very possible. In Tibetan tradition, they like something Dorje Phangmo, something Dorje Phangmo, very high reincarnated Lama, women, through centuries. The present, Samdhi Dorje Phangmo reincarnation, I think 14th or something. That reincarnation started almost, I think, same period that of the Karmapara Rinpoche's reincarnation. So one of the oldest tradition, so that is the women. And a few other, you see, women reincarnation in the past Tibet, you see, traditionally there. So you see, Tibetan mind, you see, so long, you see, one qualified one, you see, no differences. So in fact, one time in America, one journalist asked me whether future can be a women Dalai Lama. Then I have joked, you see, told him, not only women, but beautiful women. That next day, you see, that reported in newspaper. I have joke, but some reasons there. The purpose, you see, be a female, you see, useful or more, more effective. So the good face also, you see, some matter, isn't it? Very ugly face, you see, sometimes it's difficult, you see, to attraction. So that's why
therefore, it's a question of approachability and attraction towards to the people and so on. So because of this, because of this, there is a recognition of these seemingly mundane facts, even in the Buddhist scriptures, about their importance for enhancing one's spiritual roles and practices.
Now the second part, basically, as I mentioned earlier, Western or Eastern, no differences. Basically, of course, there is some cultural differences, and I think the cultural background and the family background, there are some differences. That I think differences on a superficial in human mind, I think in certain level, and deep down, same human being. So should not any differences. But then you see, generally, I feel it is safer the Westerner follow your own traditional religion, generally speaking. Then out of millions, you see, certainly, you see, some people find more attraction, more suitability, right? The Buddhist way of approach. Then in that case, think more, very carefully. If you really feel the Buddhist approach or Eastern way of Eastern religion, and particularly Buddhist way of approach is more suitable, you really feel, then it is individual right. You see, you can adopt one of the Eastern religion as your personal religion. But then you see here, one important thing we should keep in our mind. That is, as a human being, there is tendency to justify your decision, you see, little critical view or critical expression to the previous religion. Or that very careful, that should not happen. So although, you see, you find the Buddhist way of approach is more suitable, but that does not mean, as I always telling people, to me, Buddhism is best. That does not mean Buddhism is best for everyone. Certainly not. So for certain people, it's Christianity is more suitable, more effective. To certain people, Judaism. For certain people, Muslim. That's just like, you see, food. I always mention, you see, make an example. One is a restaurant. If serve one dish, morning, noon, evening, and 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, the whole year, just one dish, then I think no longer any customer. You see, that restaurant is a variety of dishes, or English style, or French style, or Chinese style, or Tibetan style, not much, you see, variety. So you see, the more variety of, you see, dishes, then naturally it serves more variety of people. Then more customers will come. So similarly, this human mind, so many different as a variety, so many different mental disposition. Therefore, one single religion, I think, no matter how you see good, how
wonderful.
How wonderful. You see, cannot satisfy variety of people. So therefore, it is much better. The variety of philosophy, variety of religion is much more benefit for a variety of people. So therefore, you see, we must respect various different religion. Although, you see, one's own religion is one particular religion. But you see, as a how to say, the reflection of respect other, a sense of concern of all sentient beings, all human beings, we must respect the other religions. That's very important. So otherwise, basically, I don't think you see any differences, whether Westerner or Easterner or Northerner or Southerner. There is no differences regarding practice of Dharma. Thank you. So.